Hello everybody. Today we are going to be going over my top favorite World of Tanks console websites. These are going to be 5 websites that are all related to the game, where they can give you external stats that you cannot see in your main game, or all kinds of cool things that, little secrets it's going to show you. Ways to get better, all kinds of stuff like that. You can see how you're doing also, because there's going to be some stat websites in here as well. But yeah, we're going to start off with my absolute favorite, which is WotC. Right there. This is probably the best one. This is a fan-run website. This is not by Wargaming. I will get to Wargaming's in a minute. But this is a really cool website. When you first come on, there is all this different stuff here you can read. You're going to see the top battles. So basically, these are going to be the games that the top players are having. This is the most anyone has done in the last 7 days. This is 15,000 combined. These are all combined games. Shows their WN8 and their XP, all this different stuff. You can only get your games on here, however, if you track your battles, which I'll get into in a little bit. You can also see I'm right there. You can change it to the last 24 hours if you want to see, a bit more recent. And you can also turn on Cold War and see what people are doing there, which is kind of cool. And it goes down from tier 10, I think, to 7. Yeah, 7 is the lowest. You can see all these different battles people have been having. Another cool thing is you can see all the different content creators right over here. And it can take you a straight link to either their YouTube, their WotC page, or their Twitch, which is really cool. And you can see all the different people's here. I need to get mine on here. I sent them an email, but they never responded. So please respond so I can get my YouTube channel on here. But that's pretty cool. So if you ever just want to see some of the different content creators, some of them are old, some of them are new, but you can just jump right to their YouTube channel or whatever you want to see. Just like this, if we want to look at Vishaw, you can just jump right here. It will show his stats, which is his page, which is pretty cool. I like that. Back to the home page, there's a lot of cool things in here. So you can go to players, and you can search by, this is going to be the top players in the last 30 days. See, it says minimum 30 battles, last 30 days. This is by WN8. You can search by different things, WN7 if you want to look at that, or win rate. Obviously, the win rate ones are basically to be all be Cold War, so you got to remember that. Because you just have higher win rate in Cold War. Same thing with WN8 as well. As you can see, these are, Seal Clubbed or whatever, or Cold War, because you just make more in Cold War. So it's a little bit hard to see, but one easy way to look through that is you can just look at the average tiers. Like you can see, that's 6.5, where am I? Yeah, I'm 9.2, so I'm right there. Just look at the average tiers for that, which is cool. You can also search for all time. So the best player of all times, you can see this. He is the best player of all time. He really should be number 1, but this is by WN8, which is pretty cool. You can also go to win rate by all time, which is pretty cool. Another thing to look out for is see how some of these accounts have very low battles. They are most likely reroll accounts, or maybe somebody was on Xbox and they created a PlayStation account, but they already knew how to play at the game, so it has very low battles. So when you're looking for, like, say, the best players or whatever, look at the ones with a bit higher battles, and you will kind of be able to tell. You can also turn this off if you just want to look at Xbox players, or you just want to look at PlayStation players. As you see, it does say a minimum of 2,500 career battles, so you can't have any lower than that. But still, I do think that's one of my favorite things to look at here. And you can search all kinds of different stats if you want to look at the most kills, or survival rate. It's pretty epic, I think. And this is all free. I love this website. I use it almost every day for different things. You can also look at clans if that's something you like to look at. You can look at the top clans for WN8. You can also go to all time. You can look at that, which is pretty cool. The website is a little bit buggy sometimes, and sometimes this just will not load, and you have to come back in 15 minutes and it'll load. I don't know what that's about, but it is pretty accurate. There's also something called Hall of Fame. We will see if it loads. If it doesn't load, I probably won't show it because it's very, very slow to load. Another thing is at the bottom of the page, it will show different players that you can click on, and you can go look at their stat page. This is not loading at the moment. It'll just take forever probably, so I'm going to go back. If you want to search, I can search up my name here. I am right there. And this is where I'm going to show you some of the other things. So first of all, it's going to show your name up here, and it's going to show your clan tag. If you have one, if you don't, it'll just be blank. It'll show when you started playing, 2015. That's when I started playing on this account. And my last battle was an hour and 39 minutes ago. It'll show your win rate, all this different stuff. This is your all tier, all kind of this stuff. It'll show, you know, every tier right here. However, if you want to filter it a bit more down, you can also see here, it shows that. It'll also show your sessions here. This is what I was talking about, the battle tracker. Before you start playing, I always like to turn this on, so you can click that. And then basically any battle you play, it will record the damage and combined of what you do. As you can see here, if we scroll down a bit more, you'll see some of my ones. Thunder Chief, you know, it'll show that's what I did. I did 8K on that one, and then I did 3K, and it shows the combined. You know, I did 4K here, and then I had 5K combined. So you can look through that, and it shows your WN8 for each one of them, which is pretty fun. It shows your most damage you've ever done. However, this is going to be including Cold War, so that's just something you have to think of. If you go over your World War II damage, it will not show it. The most I've ever done was 13 kills and 5K base experience. And then it's going to show some other interesting stats. I don't want to go too deep into this because I don't want this to take absolutely forever. But this is just, if you really want to take a deep dive into your stats, you can go look here. Another thing you can filter right here is, say you just want to look at your tier 10 stats. You know, my tier 10 WN8 is 4,000 over all time, or if I want to look at my 30 days, it's 5,600. So you can filter basically everything down, which is really, really cool. This is one thing I use for recruiting. You know, I have a clan, and I usually recruit by stats. You can just go through people's different things, and you can see above tier 6, you know, if I want, or if I want to just look at their, you know, tier 10 stats, you know, if they can join, I would look at that, and it shows me everything I need to know right here. I can look through their tanks. I can look through their marks of excellence. Right now the marks of excellence are bugged, as you can see it shows those ones don't have marks of excellence. Every one of these should basically all be 2 or 3 marked. There was a bug a couple weeks ago which made them disappear, but they will come back because they're fixing that. So just ignore that for now. But yeah, it's a very cool website, and there's a lot of different things you can see here. You can also look at all your different medals, which is pretty cool. I love that. That's one of my favorite things. And there's a little hidden feature that not everybody knows about, is the tank compare up in this right corner. You can add tanks. Now I will warn you that it doesn't have all the tanks, and this doesn't update regularly, so it doesn't have everything, and not all the stats are right. But if we were to come over to the light tanks and say we want to compare the EBR 105 to the Manicore, you would go there. And now you can see the DPM, you know, you can see all these different compares. Now, like I said, it doesn't have everything, and it's not all up to date, so you have to know kind of, you know, what you have to know the base stats and stuff, because some of it is incorrect. If stuff gets buffed, it doesn't get buffed on here. It's very slow to update this. But it also shows the top players in each one of it. Is Crucial is the #1 for the EBR, and then Kiros for the Manticore, and it shows their WN8. And I believe that's the average damage. I'm not sure what that is. That might be the WN7. I'm not sure what that is. But it does show pretty much everything here, which is really cool. However, we are going to be moving on to our next website. And this is going to be WotC online, which is really cool. And this one is a new website, actually. It's a Russian website, I believe. And this one has some different stats that WotC does not have. And we're going to start off here at the home. And this one has, I'm going to show this first. So if I want to go to this tank, okay, let's say light tank, we're going to do the French. Let's go to tier 10, and I'll show the different tanks here. EBR 105. This shows the marks of excellence requirements, basically. If you want to 3-mark it, this is what it's looking like. It's about, you know, 5,300 damage. That was back then. If you want the more recent, it went down a little bit. It is about 5K for the 3-mark of excellence right now, which is the lowest I've ever seen this tank, actually. When I 3-marked it, it was about 6K, I remember. And the gold mark is about 52. And this is a much more accurate than the other one I'm going to show a little bit later. But this is the newer one. I believe it does pull some of these values from the other website, which I'll go over. This is really cool though. And there's all kinds of different things you can see here. You can go to weekly, if it loads. A lot of these websites are a bit slow, I've noticed. Let's see. Okay. I don't know what was going on there. If we want to go here, though, this is the other area. That was for the marks of excellence. If we go to light, if we go to France, tier 10, EBR 105 again. It will search. Okay. Look, this shows the marks of excellence that people have done. This is my absolute favorite thing, and I've never found another website that does this. Only one person has ever gold marked it, and this is Shimi Sisma, or whatever his name is. I believe he's Russian. He is the only person to ever gold mark it. Okay, and it tells you how many people have done this. Now, some people like me, I like to be maybe the first person to ever 3-mark a tank or gold mark a tank, and this tells you in advance, and you don't have to search through all the different people that have done it on WotStars. Only 40 people have or have 3-marked it, and I can say I am one of those people. If you scroll down far enough, I should be here. Yep, list right there. The last one. But this is absolutely, I just love it. Here is the average that somebody has damage and assist, the most they've averaged. This was Dante from the One Clan and Legio. 6.2k combined that was his average. That's just absolutely crazy. You can also go to pure damage, 4100, Flying Egg. He is the best light tank player of all time, I would say. Absolutely insane player. The max damage anyone has ever done is 10,000. Only one person has done 10,000. That's Crucial Crossout, which I'd say is probably maybe the best EBR player, which is absolute. I love that. And you can see, the most people have ever done in that. This is really cool. I was really excited when this website came out, and there's all kinds of different things you can do for this. There is a Hall of Fame here. Yes, top players by damage. Sketic Strico, Bahek, Tubby those are the top ones right there. You can go by class as well. They also do have a clan page, and it does show the clans. I noticed that it keeps getting rid of clans for some reason. Like, I remember my clan, and XO were just gone one day. And then they came back, so I don't know what that was about. So that kind of happens, but the website is still new, so that could be part of it. But I do really think it's pretty cool. It also shows some funny things of who has capped the most, all kinds of things like this. Engineers, I don't know exactly what that means. I've seen this, the most medals. I don't exactly know what this is. I should probably ask. Who has cut the most trees? Holy, that's a lot. Who has cut the most trees in game, which is kind of funny. Win rate, aces, MOEs. Actually, I'd like to see, I was assuming, yes, he has the most 3 marks of excellence, LSWV. He's an insane player. He also has the most golds, I believe. Yep, 409 gold mark tanks. I believe he did every tank from tier 5 to tier 7. He gold marked them, and then he quit the game. But that's pretty cool. And if we got to keep going, were we already here? Yes. Okay, I forgot to show you this page. This also shows the most common tanks with gold and 3 marks. The E5 is the most common tank that has been gold marked at tier 10, with 44 people have done it. As long as the I7, which I know the I7 is very easy. I still don't have a tier 10 gold mark, so I can't even be on here. I really need to get one. It also shows for Era 2 and Era 3 and Era 1. And the Brask is one of the most common tier 8s, which I did do that one. I'm a part of that. But it just shows all these cool stats. And then here's the 3 marks, who's done most of that. The rarest ones, this is something I really liked. Only 2 people have ever 3 marked the BZ. Only 5 have done the can opener. If we click on that, yeah, you can see, well, I know that one, I'm guessing, yeah, some of these were bot farmed or done on the first day just by knowing. I know he did it legit. All of them did it legit, I believe. Maybe, you can also see that most damage they've done, or max damage. I know a few have done, yeah, okay, 13k. I knew a few, yeah, I knew he did 12k, which is absolutely insane. I really like this website. I don't really know how to explain it, because I've been wanting for something for like this for forever. And you can also go to some tanks that, look, this one has never even been 3 marked. The gun gear, it's to tier 9. That's pretty insane. Nobody's 3 marked these as well, which that's pretty crazy. Nemesis MBT is one of the rarest 3 marks. I do have that one. I'm a part of that. I did that one not too long ago, and it was actually very, very hard, just because the tank is not good. And if we go over here, this shows I haven't even looked into this. Artie Hunt, people have killed the most Arties, I'm guessing, in the month, which is kind of cool. Yeah, that's cool. And then there's this cat page, which I don't really know why this is here. If it loads, yeah, it just shows cats. I don't know what that's about, but that's pretty funny. And then we're going to go over to the next website. This is going to be Tanks GG. some of you may know of this if you play on PC. This is a World of Tanks PC website. However, most of the armor models correlate over to World of Tanks console. So if we're going to go to Sweden, all right, and we're going to click on the Kranvagen, and this is, PC stats, so I wouldn't necessarily look at this. Some of them are pretty much the same, but don't necessarily look at this. I use this purely for the armor models. So you can click here, and you can go to live, and look at this. It shows you the armor model and the penetration. Okay, you can use this website to learn how to go hull down and things, know your weak spots. For example, I can act like I'm on a ridge line. Okay, look, I'm not penning that, 500 millimeters almost in some areas, which is crazy. Another thing you might want to do though, so if we go back on flat ground, let's say this is just against its own standards 265 rounds. Okay, let's compare this against a different tank. So let's go to a TD with high pen. Let's do something like let's say the Hori. It has pretty high AP pen. As you can see with the standard round, it's already a little bit weaker. It can almost pen it on flat ground. And then here, that means if you're on a Hori, you can basically pen a Kranvagen with its 360 premium pen on a flat ground, as you can see, which is, it's just going to butter right through that. Another thing is, you can also then see what it's like with gun depression. Now, he's probably not going to pen you. He can maybe hit your cupolas, but you could just do this, like when you're reloading or whatever, and he's probably not going to pen you. There is a little weak spot here, which you can get hit by, but yeah, I love this website. This is another great one, and it also shows some secret weak spots. Let's see if I can get this one to work. Yes, this one. This is what I was looking for. Okay, right here. See, the Minotauro is it's a pretty well armored tank. I'm not sure if our armor model is exactly the same, but you can basically take this as most of them are very, very similar, if not identical. Sometimes when tanks get buffed or nerfed, they are then different from our game to this game. I believe we used to actually have a console website that did this, but I don't think that's anymore. But what I want to see here is the secret weak spot. So if we're going, say, hold down like this, 10 degrees of gun depression, it looks like, we're unpennable, right? Well, if you move your cursor around, pretend this is all hidden under a ridge line. If you move your cursor, you will see that right here. If you shoot into the tracks, there's a 100% chance of penning. It's only 63 effective armor because of this armor underneath. You're shooting up into the track, into the armor. So these are some secret weak spots you can find when, looking at this website. And most people would not know to shoot there, but you can just shoot here and pen it every single time with low caliber guns. Even if you put it up against something like a light tank, let's say a RHM, yeah, you're going to pen that every single time if you just shoot straight on. As long as he is, using his gun depression. If he's flat, obviously, if you're going to shoot there, that's not going to work. But if he's angled up, you're going to pen up into this little area right there, which is really, really cool. But yeah, it has almost all of our tanks as well. You can go to the full list, and you can just filter by whatever you want. They also have tier 11s, which we don't have yet. They have all kinds of different things you can look at. This is a very cool website, and yeah, definitely take advantage of this and learn armor models, all that different kind of stuff. Actually, one more armor model I'd like to go over to show you another secret one. If we go to the heavy tanks, we go to Germany, we're going to be looking at the mouse. Where's the standard mouse? Right there. There is a secret spot in the gun manual if you don't know about this. I'm not sure how much pen you need. Let's put the premium pen. Yeah, right there. So if you may look like this and you may think, yeah, the mouse is basically unpennable from this angle, right? Even if you zoom out, yeah, there's a little spot right there. I came across this not long ago. I was just kind of looking at this armor model, and I was moving my cursor around, and I was like, boom, 264 you need right there. So you could probably pen it with standards almost. Yeah, maybe not mouse standards, but if we put it in, if we compared this to something like, let's see, let's go to Czechoslovakia. Actually, no, we should do something with, yeah, we can do this. The VZ, go back to the 3D model. We're now against the VZ. Yep, you can see there's a 30% chance right there, 31%. That's with standards. In the minute we load the 315, our VC does not have 315. Just to clarify, ours is lower. But 315, yeah, look, boom, just pen it. If mouse is ever angling, just shoot him in the gun manual. That's a fun little secret one. But yeah, that's this website. This is tanks.gg right up here. And we're going to move on to the next website. The next website is the World of Tanks official website, the World of Tanks Modern Armor. If we go home, this is what the main page looks like, and you can go over to news. You can look at the different news, things that are coming. As we can see, this lunar sale is coming. I haven't actually even looked at this yet, but you're going to be seeing, some different things in advance before it actually comes, which is definitely cool. They're going to be selling some different camos, it looks like. Sometimes they have challenges here that you can look at. That's all of that kind of stuff. And we're going to move on to the tanks. Here is the full list of our tanks. So if you want to say, we'll look at the stats, like I showed you on WotC how the stats weren't necessarily updated. Here they will always be updated because this is the official website, and Wargaming updates it when stuff goes live into the game. So this is always going to be updated. If you want to say look at, what tank could we look at? If we go to the USSR, Russian, and we want to look at the, let's say the IS-7. Where is it? Right there. You can see, it's the 705A, my bad. Yeah, there we go. It'll show, look, it shows its full penetration right there, 250 standards, 303 premium, and 68 HE. The damage that it does, the hit points, the max speed, concealment, vision range, it shows basically everything. And you can get all your different, if you're looking for a tank that you like to research, you can look through these lists and see what, you might like. It shows, pretty much everything. It shows the max speed of the ammo, the penetration at distance, the shell types, accuracy, aim time, the rounds that it can carry. There's one thing I believe it does not show. It's something with the gun. I'm not quite sure. There's something I know this website does not show that the in-game does. Something about the guns. I don't remember what it was, but it basically shows everything. Yeah, this has always been a nice tool. You get a nice picture of the tank. I do think that looks very nice. And you can look at you can look at anything, and even if you want to look at some of the Cold War tanks, you can do that as well, which is kind of cool. And you can also see some of the cool skins. Like, let's say, for example, the Emissary. If you want to see what this looks like, that's a close-up of it. Fortunately, you can't get like a 3D model, which is like PC has. But I think that's okay. Or if you want to see something like this, yeah, that looks kind of neat. You can see the up-close, colors and everything. And it does even have all the mercenaries and everything. And yeah, it has basically everything. Look at that. How cool you can see the skins before you buy them. And that's going to be most of what you can do on this website. There are a couple other things. If you're interested in regiments, you can see, you can create a regiment. You can see your inbox if anybody has invited you, or if you want to find a regiment, if you just want to type in one. This is my clan, for example. Right there, that's my clan. Which is cool. You can search up different clans, or if you want to see if a clan tag is available, say I wanted to see, if this without the dash was available, I could then see, nope, that's taken. So you can also do that, which is kind of cool if that's something you're interested in. If we're also going to regiments, there's a leaderboards for this. You can see the top regiments of 2026. If I want to go to the past day, you can see who is the top, past 30 days, 2026. Yeah, past 365 days, all time. And you can also see the minimum player. So if you want to bump that up to, let's say, I don't know, 28, or 28, that's fine. You can then see all time, the regiment rating. It's pretty cool. And yeah, that's going to be most of what you can do on this website. You can also look at your own stats. I'm not logged in currently. But you can look at your own stats, which is cool. But if you're going to look at your own stats, just look at them on WotC. It basically has everything that's better. And then we're going to go to the last website. This is going to be the ads. Yeah, I hate this about this one. Yes, this one has so many ads. Oh, it's terrible. But we're going to be doing this one. This is another Russian website, I believe. It's not tied to this one, I don't think. I don't think they're any way related. This was the old website I used for forever that updated. This is a Marks of Excellence website. That's basically all it does. It did have some stuff for clans and players, but it wasn't never updated, and this still doesn't update. However, I will say that this is correct. This is pretty similar. This is about what it is to 3 mark the RHM right now. is about 6K. It's probably yeah, it is the highest, as you can see. And this is the lowest. It doesn't update, so I can't really. It's not the best. Just use the new website. I put it on here just because some of the people, yeah, use this website. But I put this one on here because some of the old people, or the people that have been around, have just been using this website. But this one isn't great. One thing I do like that you can do in this one, which I believe you can do in the new one as well, as you see the most played tanks. I believe this is in the last 30 days. 51,000 battles. I believe it's the last 30 days. It could be 90 days or something. I don't know. Or even the last week. But this website is a little bit outdated and stuff. It doesn't ever add new tanks as well. So it's basically just like tanks from, I'd say like 2 years ago, because I don't even think the Hobry is on here. If we look, yeah, it's not. So this is like 2 years old. They haven't been updating. But it is kind of cool. If you want to see the least played tanks, that is kind of cool. But I believe you can do that on something else, a couple other websites. So this one's just a bit outdated, but you can still use it. This still does technically update, but I think this one, this new Marks of Excellence website, is more accurate to what is now, because this one is it's updating every single day, I believe. But yeah, that's gonna be pretty much it for these different websites, and that's basically all the big ones, the 5 big ones that I can think of. I hope you enjoyed this. I'll link all of these in the description if you want to check them out. But yeah, that's going to be it for now, and I'll see you next time.